Hello, Rotarians and guests. Welcome to the Rotary Club of San Jose, meeting number 5,486. My name is Matt Breaker, and I have the honor and privilege of leading our meetings in our club for this year, so welcome to everyone. It is Wednesday. It's shortly after 12, so we know what that means. It is officially showtime, and we'll see if we're on air. We'll test it one more time. We're on air. Okay. Keep an eye on it. We've got some things happening here. So first off, do want to say thank you to Jeff Pole, our piano man, who gave us some wonderful music welcoming. Yes. Also want to say thank you to our greeting line today, the RotaCare Committee, fabulous committee led by Sandra Jewett. We're going to hear more about them in a little bit, so thank you to them. And we've got on the traveling mics today, Michelle Zhang and Carolyn Wallace. Where's Michelle? There we go. Michelle, go ahead and introduce yourself.
So my name is Michelle Zhang. My sponsor is Rod Diridan, and I can sing karaoke 7 hours nonstop.
Okay. Well, we have a talent show, and people have been asking me when's the Rotary Talent Show. It's April 1, so mark your calendar. You sound like you might be you in that. Let me know if you want to be in it, or let Lisa Millette know. Okay, Carolyn, go ahead.
It's so hard to top that.
Folks, we got the traveling mics. Folks introducing themselves, please.
My name's Caroline Wallace. I lead partnerships at Sequoia Capital. A fun fact about me is I'm writing a book about my grandparents.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Well, welcome both of you. Well, Rotarians with guests, will you please rise for some introductions? Do we have Rotarians with guests? Please stand up. We'll have our traveling mics find you for some introductions. We're going to start on the left side of the room. Who do we got over here? I see Past President Heather. Is she first up? We can go right over here, Past President Heather.
Hey, President Matt.
Hello.
That sounds awesome. I didn't really introduce my guest last year, the first gentleman, Jay Alexander, but now he's our guest, Jay Alexander.
Love it. Welcome, Jay.
And I have a guest who's arriving shortly from the mayor's office, Michael Lomeo, so I'm just pre-announcing him.
Love it. Terrific. Thank you. And here we've got Dave Peterson.
President Matt, Dave here. My sponsor, Carl Silker, and my lovely wife, Ann, joining us today.
Wonderful. Okay, who else do we got? We got in the back. Here we go. Yes.
Hello, everyone. I'm Yuri, and I have Jess Singh. He's a CPA. He's my guest today, and he has a wonderful tax practice in Campbell.
Terrific. Welcome. Looking around. Any other guests here today? Yes, we have a guest right here.
Hi, everyone.
Yes. Hello. Welcome.
Good afternoon. I am from India.
Welcome.
Dr. Vyavhare, Dhananjay Jnaneshwar Vyavhare, and I was the past president of Rotary Club Umarkhed.
Terrific. Well, welcome. We're going to do
Thank
a little
you.
flag
Thank you.
exchange at the end of the meeting today. So thank
I am
you.
coming here for sponsorship, international sponsorship club from you, and that is beneficial for global grant project, and also exchange of my flag with you, your club.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
We'll chat about that after the meeting. Thank you. Welcome. And we have Jim Towery right here.
Hello. Oh, sorry.
Thank you, President Matt. Our guest speaker, Jessica Trounstine, will be introduced more fully in just a moment, but we have 3 members of the Trounstine family who are here to share that. This includes Pamela, Elliot, and David Trounstine.
Wonderful. Welcome. Sandra Jewett.
President Matt, Sandra Jewett, Classification Education, recruited by Yvonne Montesioca. Have wonderful guests today. We'll first start with the RotaCare staff, Dr. Bruce Frambach, Medical Director, and Sergio Gonzalez, Nurse, Jasmine Ramirez, she's the Operations Manager, and JP Singh, she's the Executive Director for RotaCare Bay Area. And with this, we have our restaurants who are here.
Terrific. Hello, Catherine Thompson.
Hi, President Matt. Catherine Tompkison, Public Affairs. My sponsor was Norm Klein and Rod Dearden. And we have a number of restaurant owners here today who have been donating meals to our Rotacare clinic. So we invited them today and want to introduce them. We'll start with Scott's Seafood. We have Sammy Reyes here.
Sammy!
Sammy.
Love it.
And Cremo is somewhere in the room. She's also with Scott's Seafood. We have Jennifer Echeverri from Habana, Cuba. She's the owner of Habana, Cuba. We have Marion Walsh, who is the owner of Giorgio's Italian Food and Pizzeria down in near Foxworthy. We have 3 representatives from Teeny Thai. This is Somsami Pereira and a couple of her staff members here. And I think that's it for now.
Okay, welcome all. Wonderful. We're going to hear more about Rotacare in a bit. Anyone else with guests? Here we go. All righty.
Hello, good afternoon, President Breaker, Megan Fluke. I'm here with a mentor of the past 20 years, Craig Edgerton, who has been a member of the West San Jose Kiwanis Club for 43 years, and I'm going to be trying to recruit him into Rotary.
Love it.
Craig is a combat Marine veteran from Vietnam, and along with 7 other veterans, has recently published a book about their story of recovery some 50-plus years later, and he would be honored to share his story with other Rotarians and perhaps as a speaker one day.
Terrific. Okay, we'll connect you with Dave. Welcome.
President
Past
Breaker,
President Fernando,
we
take it
have
away.
with us Noel Rabago. She is waiting for the final on her approval to join our august group.
Terrific.
Also, on the off chance that he might be tuning in from Venice, my son Daniel, and his wife.
Hello, Daniel.
In Venice. Hi, Daniel.
Welcome. Okay.
I brought a guest, Yuli Deng. She serves as Chief Development Officer for San Jose-based nonprofit Society of Hearts Light, and she's also a Rotarian from City of Palo Alto.
Oh, terrific. Welcome. Rob, you...
Good morning, Mr. President. Sir, I brought
Hello.
Julie Mersick from Mark Ritchie's Commercial as my guest today here at Rotary.
Terrific. Welcome. Okay. Okay, here we go. Is that Doug? Hello, Doug. My eyesight is atrocious. Doug, welcome. Hello.
I have a guest, Yvette. She's an author and an expert on workplace resolutions. She's also been a past Rotary member and a past speaker.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, and enjoy your dinner. Like I said, my name is Yvette Durazo, and recently moved back from living abroad. I was living in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and coming back and looking for building community. Thank you.
Terrific. Welcome. Hello, Rod.
Hello,
Past
Your
president.
Highness. I have a guest today. His name is Stephen Gurulwaya. He is the publisher of Los Gatos Living, Saratoga Living, and so on and so on, the beautiful magazine that comes out.
Terrific. Welcome. Okay. I think that's it. Well, welcome to all of our guests. Okay. Well, we're going to start things off on a thoughtful and note, remembering Ray Hashimoto, who was a wonderful Rotarian who passed recently, and Norm Holberg is going to deliver some words. Norm, here you go.
Thank you, Matt. It's, of course, one of the saddest parts of Rotary is to give a eulogy, especially someone that passes at age 67, which everyone in this group can agree is like way too young. And Ray did pass playing basketball with this early morning group. Ray was a sports fanatic. He was a season ticket holder of the 49ers. He was a Giants fan. He was only relatively short in Rotary, about 5 years, and he always liked to sit back there. So For the people that always like to sit over here, you probably never got to have lunch with him, but he was a great guy, and while 5 years in Rotary, he was decades long in other community activities on the VTA Advisory Board, YMCA, Chamber of Commerce. I knew Ray mainly in a professional capacity. He was originally a planner in Palo Alto, then San Jose, then 25 years ultimately as the CEO of HMH Civil Engineering Firm, really a top-notch firm, and he provided great counsel to many, including me. Hey, Ray, it's Norm. I've got 40 acres in Saratoga. I'm trying to figure out a multi-million-dollar question. Is it one lot? Is it two lots? Is it 40 lots? And he was just a consummate professional. Married for more than 30 years to Sharon, 3 kids, a proud alum of Cal Poly. He was the chair of the Cal Poly Regional Planning Advisory Board, and they've created a scholarship in his name. It's a great guy, a playful guy. Everyone loved being around Ray. We'll miss him.
Thank you, Norm. Ray Hashimoto. Well, we'll transition to a lighter moment now with a memory with us. We'll do we're going to do a new member introduction now. Margaret Tomasia, is she here today? Oh, welcome. Come on up. Okay. Come on up. Margaret was sponsored by Suzanne Wolf, fabulous Rotarian. She's not here. Here she is. I'm just not. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Hello. Thank you. Sponsors of the Lifeblood of the Club, so thank you so much. Come on over here. We're going to do a little question and answer in a second. So, first of all, Margaret, we got some facts about you up here, but reminder to everyone that the biographies for our new members are in the lobby. They're on the bulletin. And on the website, and also thanks to Jeff Poley, they're going up on the social media, so you can read more about Margaret there. But we started this new tradition of trying to create some connections in the club, so that's what hopefully gets people bonded in to stay. So I thought we would do that again today. Sorry, choreography here. I think everyone may remember, so if I could have everyone please stand up. Just a reminder of what we're going to do. We're going to play a little either-or game to see who's got a lot of things in common. I'm going to ask a series of questions to Margaret. Either-or. If you have the same answer, stay standing. If you have a different answer, take a seat, but pay attention. We'll tie it together in the end. Margaret, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, and you don't know the questions?
I don't.
Okay, that makes it more exciting. And of course, we're shaking up the questions a little bit here. First of all, morning person or night owl?
Oh man, I'm kind of neither, but I guess if I had to pick, morning.
Okay. Wow, this is a lot of night owls in this crowd. Okay. Okay, would you rather take a fabulous hike or lounge by the pool?
A hike.
Okay. Interesting. Would you rather read the book or watch the movie?
Read the book.
Okay. Good. got some readers in the room. Okay, I'm glad I came up with a lot of questions here because we're dwindling here. Beatles or Rolling Stones?
Rolling Stones. Oh, man, I lost everyone.
Wow, no rock and rollers here.
Okay.
Okay. I like it. That's what we've got some people standing here. This is our connection, folks. If you're still standing here, please, at the end of the meeting, come up and introduce yourself to Margaret. You've got a lot in common with her. And if you only had one or two things, go over there, introduce yourself as well. Maybe sit with her at the next meeting to make her feel welcome. And with that, could I have everyone stand and give Margaret our traditional Rotary welcome?
Thank you. I've actually been coming to Rotary since the 90s, and I did know Ray from working at the City of San Jose when I was just first out of college, and he was a planner that gave a council assistant that didn't know much the time of day, so it was just kind of fitting that I was introduced on the same day. So thank you.
Well, welcome. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, welcome. Love new members. Okay, next up we're going to hear from Los Amigos Washington School. We've got fabulous chairs Sarah Janigan and Audrey Fox. Come on up. Let's hear it for our two co-chairs here. The assigned should be sent. Okay. You know where you're going.
I got it.
Okay.
Well, it's back to school time for the Los Amigos de Washington Committee, and we are beginning to plan our upcoming school year at Washington Elementary School, which is located in downtown San Jose. Washington Elementary School is a Title I school in the San Jose Unified School District, and to qualify to be a Title I school, you have to have 40% of your student population eligible for free or reduced lunch. At Washington, over 95% of the families qualify for the program. So that means that over 95% of the families and students at Washington are in pretty low socioeconomic circumstances. And our club's history goes back with Washington over 30 years. In January of 1995, students on the playground witnessed a drive-by shooting. Then Rotary President Leonard McKay and Rotarians decided that our club needed to take immediate action and began planning. And the first organized activity was Fish Day, bringing an activity that is normally done out in the woods, in the wilderness, to an urban setting. And it was very successful. And this began a partnership that continues to this day, providing positive and meaningful opportunities to students and to the entire community around Washington. It also houses a RotarCare clinic on the school site. Over the years, Rotarians have provided and supported a variety of activities and enrichment for the school: field trips, career and college nights, tutoring, leadership clubs, technology, holiday activities, and science camp. Rotarian Dennis Fong facilitated a student exchange EPAL program via Skype with students from his area, the area that he grew up with in China. And that opened the world up to students from both sides of the world. And a select few Washington students and teachers were able to travel to China and meet their pen pals or their e-pals on a couple trips that Dennis and his wife Polly facilitated. The Los Amigos Committee also works with other Rotary committees to make these activities happen. Obviously, the Fish Committee, Washington still participates, that's for third graders. Executive chefs have worked with us to provide food for career and hospitality and career and college nights. The Culinary and Hospitality Committee has helped coordinate our teacher appreciation dinners. And most recently, the Service to Seniors Committee has engaged the Student Mariachi Group to perform at Moroni Gardens, a senior living facility. And they were very well received, and it was a Cinco de Mayo holiday treat for them. So Audrey is now going to take it from here and share our most recent and upcoming plans and how we make them happen.
Thanks, Sarah. Okay, so how does our committee support the school? Well, first, we work very closely with the school principal to identify the needs and map out the entire school year together. Let's look at some pictures that illustrate what we do at the school. Okay, so first up, mariachi. If you have been to our holiday lunch the last couple of years, you've heard the mariachi play. And it was really our committee's support that enabled that program to begin. Okay, Fish Day, you all know about Fish Day. And that's where every single third grader and their family is invited out to fish, as Sarah described. Okay, this is mock trial. This is an experience that our committee facilitates at the Superior Court, where the kids come to the courthouse and they're given a script ahead of time, and the script is such that Goldilocks is on trial for trespassing. Which is lock her up. That's funny. Very, very impactful and educational. They did. Yeah, they did. They did. They're the jurors, too. Okay, so that's mock trial. Next is the faculty and staff appreciation. Now, this is a core component of our work at the school. We host 2 very special events to show the teachers how much we value and support what they do. And this was just at the Gordon House last year. And you can see members of our committee and the faculty and teachers. Okay, so this is 5th grade promotion. Rotary is visible at the promotion through our presence. We sit on the stage and we provide a speaker every year. And it's a little far away, but you'll see that is retired police chief Tony Mata, who is on our committee, giving the speech this year. And we've every year just had the most incredible speakers. There we go. Okay, now, this is probably our most significant contribution, at least our most significant financial contribution to the school, and has really become a signature project of our Rotary Club. This is where we provide the funds, and now we're doing this to provide funds for every single 5th grader to attend science camp. It's pretty remarkable. So how are we able to do this? We do this because of you. We're able to do it because of you. Your generous donations to the foundation, your annual contribution, your participation at the gala, those are the funds that enable us to do these things at the school. The second thing that enables us to do what we do at the school is our fabulous committee. If you're a member of the Los Amigos committee, please stand up so we can thank you. So if you love education, you love educators, you would love to be a part of a school that is right here in our own community that has significant need, we would love to have you join our committee. So please talk to either one of us, and we'd love to have you come to a meeting.
Fabulous update. Washington School is doing incredible things. In fact, one of the things I haven't announced yet that I would like to talk about today is that this year we're going to do a full club service project together. On December 10th, instead of having a speaker, we're going to, as a club, we're going to have backpacks for the Washington School with the rotary wheel on it, and together we're going to wrap a gift and put a book inside each of those backpacks for every student at the Washington School. And I just have to say, these 2 chairs of the Washington Committee have been doing a fabulous job. That was a great update, and it's time for a challenge coin for each of you, so here you go. Thank you. Okay, next up, another fabulous committee, the RotaCare Committee. We've got Sandra Jewett coming up here, so please show some love to Sandra.
Well, hello, everyone. Let's see. can we get the next slide? Sorry about that. You briefly met RotoCare staff, and we're very excited to give you a brief report, but many of you are not familiar with what RotoCare is, right? So I'm going to give you a little brief history. In 1989, a Rotarian from the Campbell Club, Dr. Mark Campbell, said, you know, there's a lot of people out here without insurance. We need to do something. So he started at Agnew State Hospital. Remember Agnew at Santa Clara, that area? Started there. By 1997, we had 7 clinics in 3 counties, all RotoCare. By today, we now have 10 clinics in 6 counties. And our Bay Area representative, JP Singh, is here. She's in charge of all of that, all those counties and all those clinics, but I'm here to talk to you more about us, what we do and how we contribute. But before that, we're just not any slouchy old clinic. Obviously, we're going to have awards, right? We're Rotary. So as you can see, we have received a number of distinguished awards. We're very proud of the service that we provide to our community. And we have a little video that I like to play. Do you want me to do it from here? Technical difficulty? Can we do that? Here we go. Sorry, you guys, it's not part of my 5-minute. Don't deduct it. Uh-oh.
Houston, we have a problem. The expert is en route.
Okay. That's okay. In the meantime, I'll tell you a little bit more about it. And I'll go on to the next slide. Well, just signal me when the video is ready. We don't charge anyone. Everything is free. We have in-person or virtual, and through that it's telehealth. Doctors are on call all the time, free of charge, all volunteers. Who are the volunteers? PTs, MDs, RNs, anything you can imagine for adults. We have primarily basic free lab services, so if you need a blood test or something, that is something that is provided. Prescriptions are transmitted to local pharmacies, and then if there's any referrals, we go to nonprofits or Santa Clara Valley Medical. And we obviously always encourage people to get medical insurance as well. And right now with the political climate, I'm not sure how that's all going to pan out, but we're going to make an impact like we always do. And then you've all learned about the incredible strategic partnership we had with the Order of Malta, Catholic Charities, and us. We have this incredible mobile unit, and the goal is to provide wraparound services around the community. In fact, on August 6th, right, Vince? We are having a wraparound service, which means we're going to provide food services and medical services at St. Anastasius in Mountain View. There are flyers on your tables if you'd like to learn more about it. We would love to have you participate. So if you don't have a lot of money, but you have time, what a great way to give back to the community, right? So service is about us. Do we have now a video?
No guarantees. I have liability insurance. Nope, you got a no-play video.
Okay.
Dead on arrival, I'm afraid.
All right.
All right.
Well, we'll trust us, okay? In fact, you met Dr. Bruce Frambach and Sergio, who are there every single week and providing. I've been there and people are quite giving. It's just amazing. It's at Washington School. You were talking about Los Amigos, right? Talking about Rotary being connected and wraparound. Absolutely amazing. Matt, there we go. So it does take a village. As I mentioned to you, we have anywhere between 10 to 12 volunteers on Wednesday, every other Wednesday right now. And we got to feed these volunteers, right? They give up their dinner, they give up their time, and we have these amazing partners that come in, They cook the meals, we pick them up, we have Rotarians from our committee who pick up the meals, and I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize you guys. Without you, these guys would not be fed, and who knows, maybe they wouldn't come. I guess they have to be home and have dinner. But we do want to thank you. Your generosity, really, there's just no words to express our thanks. You cannot imagine how many people come in who have no insurance, primarily people with diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol, women who have not had a checkup, women who feel lumps in their breasts and do not have the money for that. Imagine how horrible it would be not to have the money to feel well. So we'd like to thank you. So with that, Catherine?
Sure. Can we get to this one?
Yes. There we go.
Great. We have some of the restaurant owners. We have 7 restaurant owners, restaurants who are currently providing these meals every other week. They do it without any compensation. They just donate it. And some of these people are here today. So I'm going to do this in alphabetical order. If I could have Marianne Welsh from Giorgio's Italian Food and Pizzeria. We have a certificate of appreciation. Next, we have Jennifer Echeverri from Habana, Cuba, over at the Sofa Market in the Sofa District. We have Sammy and Cremo from Scott's Seafood. Please come up. Last but not least, who is present here today to receive this certificate of appreciation are the good folks from Teeny Thai Cuisine. They're on the Alameda. And Somsami Pereira, if you would come up on behalf of your organization. There are 3 other restaurateurs who are not here today. You know the Cusimanos from Palermo's, both Diane and Renato. They just got back from Sicily and can't be here at Party Helpers, and the Los Gatos Cafe Midtown location.
How about joining our committee? Karen had a plug. So we meet 4 times a year, and only for an hour. I'm very prompt. I really want this done. I know we're all very busy people. If you don't want to do that, how about being a liaison for one of our sister clubs? We have something called the Advisory Council that I happen to be interim chair for, so I need some help with that. And every time I go to one of my doctors, I say, hey, how about volunteering? Or go to the lab, would you consider this? You can do the same, doesn't cost anything. You know, just ask. The worst they can say is no, right? Or the wraparound services that I mentioned to you. August 6th, we're going to have at St. Anastasia's in Mountain View. That's a great opportunity. And my email is always there. Take a picture or my phone number. Please help. You know, there's nothing better than being healthy, right? I found this great slide about you can have all the money in the world. You can be a multimillionaire. But if you do not have your health, it means nothing. And for these people who have so little, health is everything for them. So thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Great update. Fabulous committee. Feels good to be Rotarian today, doesn't it, folks? So let's see here. Okay, I said it first meeting. One of the things I wanted to do this year was as consistent with our Showtime theme is have a program called the Rotary Spotlight. We've got so many incredible Rotarians in this club, many who come up to the podium, as we just heard from several today. We've got lots that are out there just quietly doing their amazing work in our club, and I thought we should shine the spotlight on some of them today. So we're gonna have a little fun. We're gonna shine a little spotlight today. He was born and raised in Clackamas, Oregon. He came to California to attend San Jose State University. Go Spartans! There, he was an all-American gymnast, excelling, competing at all 5 events, but excelling in the pommel horse. After graduation, he met and married his fabulous wife, Ann. Together, they raised a family of 3 children, including one Rotarian, our very own Mary Peterson. Together with his wife, they found and built the California Sports Center, where for 37 years, they have been teaching children, more than 1,000 children from toddlers to teens, gymnastics and dance, many of whom have gone on to compete in college, including one who is even an Olympic qualifier. And Dave became this incredible Rotarian, joined our club in 1991, courtesy and sponsored by our past president, Carl Silker. He went right to work here. He joined the ELC committee and then the Fish committee, but he has made his mark with the Rotaract committee. He's led this committee for years, brought this committee to 5 schools within San Jose, seen hundreds of students go through his program and learn the power of service, the value of leadership, and perhaps most importantly, a true sense of belonging. He's a former club director, a proud Diamond Endowment member, and he reflects the very best in what it means to be a Rotarian. Please join me in an ovation for Dave Peterson. Of course, I have a little challenge coin for you. Now, Dave, I did hear recently some exciting news that I believe is true. That incredible business of 37 years. Is it true that you sold that business?
I did, yes.
That is wonderful. And I've also heard that the sale was just wonderful and terrific, and you've been reaping the benefits of it. You've been seen traveling all across the state, the world. You've been hot on the town, seen in restaurants, seen at fundraisers. In fact, you were seen just last week at the Broadway show of Moulin Rouge. I myself saw you. You're hobnobbing. You look happy. You've got a smile on your face, a drink in your hand. Something's missing, Dave. Something's missing. You're a superstar, but even superstars have to wear the pin. There you go. $100, Dave. No one's safe. Thank you.
Matt, I'll go a step further, and you can ring it another 36 times for the 37 years.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Times 3 plus 6. There we go. Amazing. Hey, loving this club today. This is great. Okay, we're going to do a quick little, we got a golf thing coming up, so if you want to play some golf in August, please let me or Tim Gill know. Fun and Friendship has their first event on August 23rd. Sign-ups are in the lobby. It's going to be fun at Nancy and Mike's place. Say 17th. Yes, 17th. Bad. Find myself. I should do that. Okay. And we got the Rotary Barbecue on September 10th. The link is up. Get on there. Book your ticket. It's the perfect event to bring a friend, to bring a future Rotarian. So please come to that event on September 10th. Next week, we're hearing from the San Jose Police Chief, Paul Joseph, 21st century public safety in the 21st century policing. It's going to be terrific. And now we're going to hear from today's speaker, Jessica Trounstine, and introducing her will be Barbara Marshman. So let's show some love to Barbara. And before she does that, I'll just say, Jessica, we have made a donation in your honor to the Children's Musical Theater. And afterwards, I'd like to take your picture. And I've got a challenge coin for you, which has the Rotary logo and the Showtime logo on the other side. Barbara, take it away.
Thank you, President Matt. It's a special honor for me to introduce Jessica Trounstine today because, like many of us San Jose old-timers, and I see a few of us out there, I knew her late father, Phil Trounstine. In the 1990s, Phil was political editor of the Mercury News, had a long career in political commentary. When I was writing local editorials, I was a newcomer then, I remember so well that he adored his kids and took every opportunity to talk about them. And he was particularly proud of Jessica as a teenager. I can only imagine how he'd feel today seeing her take the stage at Rotary. If you haven't read Jessica's bio in the Rotary Bulletin, please do. You'll see that she's somewhat, not so much followed in her father's footsteps with political commentary, as she's carried it to new levels of academic research, analysis, and insight into politics as it's evolving today. Listen to her presentation. She'll talk about her book. Think about getting the book. She's a good writer, by the way. Wonder where she got that. I want to thank Alex Shore, who's here today, who did not know Phil, but met Jessica through his own civic interests and recruited her as a speaker. Let's give a warm welcome home to Jessica Trounstine.
Thank you for that wonderful welcome, and I'm really excited to be here today to talk to you. I'm not going to talk about current politics because that's dangerous. So instead, what I'm going to do is talk about historical politics and then let you ask questions about today's politics, if that's your interest. I'm going to advance the slide. Yes, okay, got it. So the talk today is drawn from my first book, Political Monopolies in American Cities, The Rise and Fall of Bosses and Reformers. And the reason why I decided to talk to you about this book is because it features San Jose. And I thought that that would be an interesting way for us to engage in sort of thinking about the current political moment with understanding the past here in San Jose. Political Monopolies is a book about the conditions under which democratic institutions successfully function to represent people and the conditions under which they fail. You might have heard in the media recently lots of talk about whether or not democracy is failing or succeeding. And what I'm hoping to do today is give you a bit of a framework for answering that question for yourself. In the book, I argue that democracies fail when political coalitions establish something that I call a political monopoly. And that's just like what it sounds like, right? Somebody who has control, complete control over a system. Coalitions that have successfully eliminated effective competition then in turn cause democracy to suffer. So today I'm going to explain what I mean by political monopoly. I'm going to describe the strategies that monopolists employ, and I'm going to talk about the consequences of monopoly, including the effects on political competition, turnout, and who gets what from government. It's a truism in political science that politicians desire re-election. I probably don't have to convince you of that either. But the conventional wisdom among political scientists is that the quest to remain in office is a good thing. We call this the electoral connection. We might even say it's the heart of representative democracy. Why is that? Well, representatives seeking to win your vote, seeking to keep power, will do what they can to bring your voice into politics. So in the conventional view of political science, the desire to keep their jobs ensures that politicians will be responsive to constituents in order to maximize their vote share the next time around. The trouble is, not all elections motivate leaders in this way. And this is what I argue. I argue that politicians' desire to win re-election can actually break instead of reinforce that electoral connection. Politicians can win re-election by doing what you want them to do in office, by winning more votes. But they have an alternative that can be quite appealing for ensuring victory. And that is something that I call biasing the system in their favor. When coalitions successfully limit the probability that they'll be defeated over the long run, when they establish these things called political monopolies, we as voters lose our ability to control what they're doing in office. So safety in office has the potential to affect both the quality and effectiveness of governance. In particular, the certainty of re-election changes what that governing coalition is thinking about. It generates incentives for electoral officials to only be responsive to a small group of people, those people who can return them to office again and again. So the coalition gets whittled down to that core set of groups who are needed for the politicians to remain in office and those elites who are needed to govern. What does that leave? It leaves the rest of us. It leaves the periphery excluded from the governing process. As a result, I argue that when political monopolies are in power, benefits of government are focused toward that core coalition of voters and elites, and the governing coalition wins power at the expense of the broader public instead of being responsive to the things that we want. What do I mean by all of this? What is bias? I'm going to do a little bit of sort of academic speak, and then I'm going to get right to the point. So there are three basic conditions that describe a political system where representation is maximized. This is what we want. We want our voices to be communicated to the government. So when does that happen? That happens when we have information about governmental performance, when we know what they're doing in office, and we know whether or not there are available alternatives. Are they doing something because they have to or because they've chosen to do that? Secondly, a perfect political system would have free and instantaneous entry into and exit from and behavior in the political arena for candidates. If somebody wants to run for office, they should be able to run for office. And we, as voters, should be able to choose whoever we want to choose, who best represents our views. The third condition for a perfect system is one in which there is an efficient and neutral relationship between vote shares and seat shares. What does that mean? That just means if somebody wins a majority of votes, they should win a majority of seats in the governing organization. When these conditions are violated, the political coalition in power has the freedom to not respond to the voters because they don't fear losing office. I refer to institutions or systems that violate these conditions as being biased. So basically, bias refers to political arrangements that advantage incumbents over challengers, regardless of what that incumbent does in office. You're sitting there thinking to yourself, this is all political systems. Yes, you are correct. All political systems that are built by humans, and not by sort of my imagination, are biased to some degree. So it's useful to think about systems as being relatively more or less biased. Is this thing that the governing coalition is doing moving us toward representation or away from representation? And that will give you a framework for thinking about the current political moment. At one end of the spectrum, where information is perfect and entry and exit is unrestrained and vote shares are translated efficiently, incumbents can only win when they're responsive to us as voters. At the other end of the spectrum, the end I'm most interested in, the maintenance of power is disconnected from the quality of candidates and the representation of voters. Once a political coalition wins election to office, we can expect it to take steps to increase its probability of winning the next time around. This is how politics works. That's how elections are supposed to work, right? Politicians are trying to get your vote. That's a good thing. It's their currency. These strategies might be things like taking positions that you favor, enacting good public policy, mobilizing turnout. That is the sign of a healthy democracy. Or they might be doing things that are what I call strategies of bias. We can think about the available options for biasing the system by considering the steps of the voting process. Think about you and your process in politics. First, you have to know something about the government. You have to know something about what they're doing, what you want them to be doing, how you want politics to operate. You need information. That's the first step of the voting process, is the formation of political opinions or preferences. If there is an advantage for the governing regime in the development of those preferences, I call that a biased system. The second step of the voting process is when you take your public opinion, you take your political preferences, and you walk to the voting booth, or now in California, you get to do it by mail. We don't have that in Tennessee. You walk into the voting booth and you vote, and you take your political opinions and you translate that into action. The second stage of the voting process is the translation of your preferences to your votes. And if in that process of translating your preference to votes, the incumbent is likely to win no matter what you do, we can say that that system is biased. Finally, votes are translated into seats. The degree to which the share of seats won is insulated from the share of votes that are cast suggests the degree of bias. So, here are the examples. This table shows the biasing strategies that I discovered in my research in American cities. They're arranged by the stages of the voting process: information bias, vote bias, and seat bias. I'm going to go a little bit quick here because I want to make sure that we have time for questions. But I'm just going to sort of highlight here that San Jose used to have a political monopoly. That's why I'm talking about this. And the strategies that the coalition that was in power in San Jose from 1945 to 1979, the strategies that they used to lock in power are highlighted here in gray. San Jose's governing coalition was an example of something called a reform organization. That is different in the historical lexicon from a political machine. You've all heard of political machines, right? So in the history of cities, there are two basic types of monopolies: political machines and political reformers. And San Jose's experience was to be dominated by a political reform organization. So I think it's important to talk about just a few of these kinds of tactics. On the one hand, information control in machine cities was frequently done by removing investigative authorities. So putting machine loyalists in place for local level prosecutors or grand juries or states attorneys generals, right? They were limiting the ability for outsiders to learn what was going on inside the machine. In San Jose, as in many other reform cities, this was all done through media control. In many reform cities, and San Jose is one of them, the most powerful weapon was the control of the local news media. Newspaper editors and owners were the leaders of reform movements in most cities, and they refused to report stories that challenged the dominance of local elites. News stories read like editorials everywhere. And I take a tiny bit extra time and give you this quote. On the eve of charter reform in San Jose, at the moment when the reform monopoly was about to take control, the Mercury Herald printed a front page article. Front page, this is not opinion. Front page article that said that the election would reveal, quote, whether the people of San Jose want boss rule or popular rule, whether the jobs of City Hall shall go to henchmen who do nothing for their pay but politics for their master, or clean, capable men who are good citizens and accustomed only for a fair wage for fair service. Well, no, you feel like a dummy if you're going to vote for the machine that's going to come to power. I could go through each of these different biasing stages, and I'll just give you a couple more examples and then we'll open it up for questions. In the second category here of vote bias, for the most part, reform organizations maintained control by limiting who could access the ballot. That is, changing who had the right to vote and how they had the right to vote. And in San Jose, they did this as well. So making polling places very obscure, having registration at weird times, changing the timing of elections, disqualifying candidates, or having very high candidate requirements. You have to post a bond in order to run for office. Guess who gets to run for office then? Right? Only the people who can post the bonds. Registration requirements and suffrage restrictions were also popular and enacted here in California. The last piece of this process is the seat bias process. And today, we hear most about this with respect to gerrymandering, right? This idea that no matter how you vote, you will not win representation in your city council or in Congress. That is the outcome of gerrymandering. And we have lots of practice with it over history. We've done it for many, many decades. And in cities, they used to do it for city councils as well. But for the most part, reformers dispensed with gerrymandering completely by just eliminating districts. They just created all at-large elections, and that changes who gets to participate in the voting process. Again, I've left myself too little time to really talk to you about all of these different ways to bias the system, but I'm happy to talk about it in more detail if you have questions. And I'm going to skip over these slides and just say, in conclusion, machine and reform organizations fixed the system. They became invincible because they utilized mechanisms of bias to tilt electoral outcomes in their favor. They started by mobilizing voters and appealing to broad coalitions. But then, slowly, they shrunk that population and began to entrench themselves in office. They attacked competition at each stage of the voting process and created institutional tools that shielded their organizations from criticism and opposition. As a result, they increased their probability of winning for multiple decades. With re-election virtually guaranteed, both coalition types became less and less responsive to the populations that they governed. They targeted government benefits only toward their core group of supporters, and peripheral groups suffered at the hands of these leaders. And I can give you many, many examples of this kind of outcome. But how about today? Do monopolies still exist? Well, the short answer is not like this, right? We don't have these kinds of organizations at the city level like we used to have. In a few places we do here and there, but not really. But every day of our lives here in the United States, at the local level, at the state level, and at the national level, our elected officials will try to do things that push our systems away from representation and toward bias. Those things still exist. At a very tiny example of this, I can tell you, it is virtually impossible for me to figure out where I'm supposed to go vote in Nashville, Tennessee. Why? Because they don't mail me anything. I have to drive around and find where my polling place is. That's different from California, right? That's a move to try to get me out of the electorate. Anytime you look around and you see politicians doing things to move the system away from representation and toward bias, you know that you are entering the world of political monopoly. That's all.
Thank you so much. Terrific. I think we have a few minutes for some questions. We got the traveling mics. Norm, we'll start right here. We've got a fair number of people who want to ask questions, so inclusion is one of our themes for the year. Let's try to skip the preamble and get right to the question. Here we go.
Thanks so much. You say that information is the key to voting and avoiding bias. In an era where there's so much distrust of the media, and for those of us that don't want to spend 20 hours a day figuring out what's the best source and want to avoid the echo chamber of CNN versus Fox News, what tips do you have for us to get ourselves informed without spending all our waking hours getting informed?
Well, because this is my dad's birthday and because my introduction mentioned my dad, I will say that the best source of news in my mind is still your local newspaper. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't have that option, and even when they do have that option, many times local news desks are being cut by the larger news media organizations. So in that case, I encourage you to find those people who are out there doing the work. In Nashville, we have a free publication called the Nashville Scene, and those people are out there doing the work of our local desk, even without a formal media organization. Give money to those people, find those people, figure out the ways that they can get information to you. I, like you, don't want to spend 100 hours a week trying to figure out where the truth lies.
Tim, take it away.
A lot of money is being put into state secretaries of state races.
Yes.
How important is this, and what's the potential for people in that position to bias the system?
So secretaries of state it depends on the state. Luckily I get to answer that for almost every question about state and local politics. It depends. But these positions can be incredibly important for creating a system where politicians are held to account at all levels of government for their behavior in office. So to the extent that we see money in politics isn't in and of itself a bad thing. Money in politics creates a problem when certain voices are weighed more heavily than others in this system. And so depending on where we're talking about, and probably you're talking about California since we're here, we need to think about what is the power of that person and how will choosing one candidate over another move us toward or away from a representative government and the sunshine laws that we need to have in place in order to have effective governance.
Can you comment on the role of instant runoff voting and potentially mitigating some of the forces that you're talking about?
Yeah, I wish I could tell you that there's sort of instant runoff voting or ranked choice voting. There's lots of different propositions out there today in terms of institutional changes that may affect some of these processes. The political science research so far has indicated that there's not a lot of hope for any of the propositions that are that are up for debate at the moment, right? So, and there's always trade-offs. So instant runoff voting has the potential to bring new kinds of candidates into the system, and it has the possibility for people to be able to express their preferences in a different way than in other kinds of systems. But there are always trade-offs to any election system that you pick, and this is sort of going back to this perspective that all systems are biased to some degree. So if we're going to have something like ranked choice voting, we may be able to draw more people into the system. We may be able to give voters a wider range of choice. But at the end of the day, ranked choice voting systems can be very confusing for voters, and people drop out of the system more quickly. So again, for every kind of system, instant runoff voting and all of the other options that are on the table, there are trade-offs to be made.
Can you stick around we're out of time for questions, but can you stick around for a few questions if people stay after?
Absolutely.
Terrific. Okay. Jessica Trounstine, thank you so much. Let's take a photo together. All righty. Excellent talk. Thank you again. Okay, terrific meeting. We'll see you back next week for our next showtime. And I'm going to, before we close out this meeting, tell you that one of my favorite artists, Morgan Wallen's in town. So I'm going to send you out with a little Morgan Wallen, The Way I Talk. And with that, we'll call it a show.